Sony PlayStation 2 will be the biggest thing to come along since TV was invented.
I'm ready. Everyone's ready, right? Who wants the PlayStation 2?
After 12 years, Sony ended production of its PlayStation 2 console in 2013. And that, for many, was the very end of a long and productive era. Then in early 2014, we got the release of the last new PS2 game, and it was the PS2 version of Pro Evolution Soccer. But now, in 2018, those who held on to the very bitter end for the last few years are finally seeing the complete curtain shut on the PlayStation 2. Sony Japan has announced that they are ending PlayStation 2 support and repair services by September 7th of 2018. This marks the end of an 18-year-long support and repair service shutting its doors. And this, to us, is the final nail in the coffin for a console that lasted so long and dominated many of our living rooms. We did a video kind of like this for the Xbox 360, so we figured since we have a moment, we might as well stop and say rest in peace, PS2. From its October 2000 release date in North America and selling 155 million units worldwide, we think you had an excellent run. Allow us now to share some of our memories.
Hey folks, it's Falcon. My experience with the PlayStation 2 is along the lines of somebody who initially was somewhat competitive with it. I was a big fan of the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation 2 happening was kind of, in a weird way, a threat. But I ended up playing Devil May Cry in 2001, and it totally changed my opinion. Here's like the best beat-em-up, hack-and-slashy type action game I think I've ever played. And what am I doing not trusting a piece of hardware? Who cares? As games like Final Fantasy X came out, I sort of lost that weird attitude. And I stopped thinking about it in terms of, which console is the best, and started thinking about it like I think maybe I should have all along. What games do I want to play, and where can I play them? And in that respect, PlayStation 2 was really a big thing. It had an unparalleled library of games. Like Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy X are among many, many games that were of that quality. And I think a lot of people forget that Persona 4 is a PlayStation 2 game. And good God, is it ever one of the best games. Like, we just had the recent remake of Shadow of the Colossus, and it's beautiful and amazing, but you have to remember that was a PlayStation 2 game. I remember the PlayStation 2 era as one where no game was too weird. We got Katamari Damacy, which is just ridiculous. But there were tons of games that were just off-the-wall experiments. The spirit of sort of, let's figure everything out, let's come up with new things, let's progress gaming. It's just something I kind of miss. And it's a fond memory that I look back on. And that's not to say all games today are bad, but it is to say I kind of miss the exploratory attitude that developers took in the PS2 era. We got games with creative, innovating ideas at such a breakneck rate in the PS2 era that although I don't know that we'll ever be back to that exactly again, creativity can't just run at full bore forever. It's not practical to expect that it ever would, but it's cool to look back on. And in some ways I do miss it.
The PlayStation 2 holds some very fine memories for me. For one, it's the first console that I bought with my own money, and it's the first time I experienced a console-selling game. I remember reading about Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty in my Game Pro and absolutely losing my mind. Not only did it look absolutely insane compared to the first game, but at this point I had played through Metal Gear Solid so many times and I was pretty much obsessed with the series. And this is when we didn't know about Raiden either. All the screenshots we got for this game pre-launch were all tanker mission screenshots, and then there were the trailers where you'd see Snake running down a corridor with water rushing in and he's like running away from it, and that actually never happened in the game because Kojima was pulling a Kojima and not letting us know that we were actually going to be playing most of the game as Raiden, a brand new character that I will admit I didn't really like at first because just like everyone else, I was fully expecting to play as Snake again. The moment where he takes off his mask after swimming into the big shell and revealing that he actually isn't Snake is still ingrained into my brain. I think that may have been the first time I screamed "what the fuck" like out loud. Then we have Grand Theft Auto 3, which needs no introduction. This is another one that I was just drooling over, looking at it in my gaming magazines. And I grew up in a very large Italian family, so obviously movies like Goodfellas, Casino, and The Godfather were on all the time, so I had a weird attraction to crime, and naturally, I really gravitated towards this game. I think I was in like 4th grade when it came out, and I remember being the only kid on my bus with a cool mom who let their shitty kid get this game. And obviously, being that young, it's not something that I should have been playing. And I spent hours running around causing absolute mayhem. It was my first time experiencing an open world, and I just couldn't handle the amount of freedom I was given. I didn't even have to sit and progress through the story if I didn't want to. If I wanted to just drive around the whole map, murdering whoever I saw, I was able to do that. It was so foreign to me, and it was something that my little dumb brain could barely grasp.
I played a lot of games on PlayStation 2, but I really had fond memories of stuff like Spider-Man 2 and The Getaway. Not just for the British crime, adult-oriented action, or for the superhero goodness, but for the worlds themselves that you could just really get lost in. Having a large open world, along with, of course, the GTA series, is really what got me hooked on certain types of games. While open world is now just like a complete buzzword and doesn't always mean much, there was a time when it was a precious rarity and something we all eagerly anticipated. And I have a lot of memories around the PS2, but honestly one of my favorites was just around getting the damn thing. I wanted it so badly because I too needed to have something to play Metal Gear Solid 2 on when it released. I did everything I could to get one despite being too young to get a real job, so I recycled old cans, I starved myself at school lunch so I could hold on to the $1.25 I should have used for food. I helped people move, I mowed hundreds of front lawns and did yard work and walked dogs, everything I could until I finally scrounged up enough cash to buy the PS2 bundle that came with Gran Turismo 3 in the red box. And it was awesome, and I was so happy to finally have my dream video game device. I also had no money left over, so all I had to play for 2 months straight was the kind of boring now Gran Turismo 3. Also, the icing on the cake, I didn't have enough money to buy a memory card, so I couldn't save any progress in the game, meaning all I really could do was the boring beginner races with the crappy starter cars over and over again. It was agonizing. But I had the console I wanted, so that's all that mattered. Now that the PlayStation 2 has officially, completely, 100% come and went, we want to hear your favorite PlayStation memories down in the comments. Did you own a PS2? Did you emulate one later on? Whatever your memories with Sony's biggest console, we want to hear from you guys. So let us know in the comments or on our Discord your favorite stuff around PlayStation 2. And if you enjoyed this video, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new, you should subscribe and hit that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.